Welcome back to the Kapeel Gupta Career PodShow, the space where we decode careers, purpose, clarity, and transformation one conversation at a time. And today's episode is special, not just because of the guest, but because of what his journey represents for millions of young Indians who feel stuck, confused, or pressured to choose a safe career path. I'm talking about someone who started exactly where many of you are today, a conventional student, an engineer, an MBA from IIM Raipur, a successful corporate professional. Yet, someone who listened to the tiny whisper inside that said, "This is not your final identity." Our guest today is Rajat Katiyar, founder of SPECTRUMInfinite, inner child healing evangelist, professional graphologist and graphotherapist, ancestral trauma healer, business and life coach, karmic cord cutting facilitator, Reiki master, NLP practitioner, and much more, and a guide to over 700 plus students and clients across the world. Rajat's transformation is extraordinary. From 15 years in IT corporate life to 8 years in entrepreneurship, and finally into a globally loved healer coach impacting thousands. His journey proves that you can reinvent your career at any age. You can outgrow your past and rewrite your narrative. Your true path often finds you after you stop forcing yourself into society's expectations. And you'll agree, we definitely need to do that. And if you've ever felt, "I'm not good enough, I don't know my calling, or I'm scared to choose the wrong career, or I want to help people, but I don't know how," then this episode will definitely hit home. So we'll explore childhood blueprints, beliefs, identity, clarity, purpose, and Rajat's personal evolution from corporate professional to one of India's most respected healers. So get ready for an honest, heart led, transformational conversation. So let's invite Rajat. Hi, Rajat. So
Thank you. Hi,
blessed to
Kapil. Thank you
see
so much. You were
Bilkul,
talking about me, and I
Bilkul.
was wondering, is he really talking about me, or is he has someone else?
You have done so much. And I'm sure the audience will love today's podcast because these things do happen. क्या करना है, कहाँ जाना है, what to do, and you are like tailor made for those people जो even they fear of changing their career path, कि भाई अब तो हो गया, अब तो एक डिग्री आ गई, अब तो इसी पे जिंदगी भर चलना है. So that is why, you know, when I was talking to you and you told me about the changes that happened in your career, I would say you like went with the flow or your calling. So आपसे तो बात करनी ही करनी है. So I'm sure your experience will, give good insights to my audience, the career
Sure, sir.
aspirant. So thank you for agreeing to be part of my podcast.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really honored because I know Kapil sir from quite some time. He's a very renowned person in career counseling and also has a very well-known name in the field of graphology where we met. Actually, we connected from there. And that's how the journey started. But I'm glad that I'm here and I'm so happy to be on your podcast. It's an honor. Thank you.
Same here, same here. I would say the feeling is mutual, and I'm getting an opportunity to talk with you in person now, in a way we can say. So, without further ado, let's begin the podcast. And see, I just spoke about your profile. So, your profile, like, it's a fascinating shift from engineering to IIM Raipur to 15 years in corporate life and then into healing sciences. Well, nobody would expect or basically forecast such a transformation. So I'm basically intrigued to ask that what was the first moment you felt your old identity cracking?
Okay, that's a very deep question, sir, and thank you so much for asking. Because I'll be honest, like every other child, I am born and brought up from a very uh, tier two, tier three kind of city. If you've heard about the city called Kanpur, and Kanpur
Yeah.
is mostly famous for IIT Kanpur, so you can understand the pressure of cracking an IIT was so much as I was growing in my childhood, and everyone around me was only going for IIT coachings. And if you also know about the city, it is one of the big hubs of IT coaching. So, people from different parts of the world come there to prepare for IT. So it was a very pressured environment. And by the end of class 12th, I realized that this is not my cup of tea. I was very sure. And by the virtue of how I was quite a talkative guy. I was into a lot of different aspects of things. Like I was into dramatics, I was into plays. I used to be on stage at times. So that part of life was very fascinating to me. So as you said, journey was very, very varied. I had no idea. Like most of the youngsters, I was very confused for most of my life. In fact, it was only first 30 years I was just trying to search that who I am, and only after first 30 years hit, I realized this is what I really want to do. So people who think that oh, career choices should be made while you were in your mother's womb, sorry, it will take you minimum half of your life to really to understand that what you want from this life and how do you feel that you are being more purposeful. So it took me good number of years, sir. But how it happened was the first jolt was that I realized that I'm not cut out for engineering, but there's so much of pressure, as you say, the peer pressure, the friends around, and even my father, because in these small cities, even a small information becomes like a jungle fire. So if you are preparing for an engineering exam, everyone knows that, oh, you're preparing, so everyone is asking you, oh, what was your result, what was your result. By 12th I realized that the result was not so good, so I had to take a break because out of my family expectations I had to prepare. By God's grace, the preparation break year was good, and I cracked into an engineering. But the story goes like this, that my first job made me feel that I have reached, that's how I thought that once I will get into my job, that is the time when I will pursue my dreams, is what my thought was. Because before engineering, I wanted to become a gamer. I seriously pursued gaming for 2 years within engineering. And then I became a professional singer. I tried my hand at singing as a band member, and I wanted to become a front man. We went into different places to perform, to fail. So I had a lot of experiences that time, and I would seriously tell sir that none of them was really a bad experience of my life, because when I was into it, I thought that this is it, and I think I have landed my career. But it happened so that even there I was not finding the way out, or I thought. But one thing was clear, sir, money was very important in our family. We were coming from a very lower middle class kind of a background. My father was a very honest, although a very high positioned government officer, but the money was very less those days. You remember there was no money which was coming in the government offices as well. So the salaries were very mere, and his all focus was that his kids can become successful, and the ideas
Right.
of success was a job. If you have a job, you're
Yes.
successful. And when I cracked my first job, I still remember in 2008, my first career was in Tech Mahindra. When I started the journey, I thought I have arrived. But within 1 year, I said, no, this is not what I've ever wanted.
Okay.
For next 3 years, I prepared myself to enter into an ad agency. So I used to
Okay.
create my CVs. I had I had applied for more than 70 ad organizations to enter into an ad agency to work there, but nobody, because my profile was not matching at all, because there's no sense. But I had that knack to create ads. A lot of my friends told me that you're very creative. By that time, I understood that I can write poems. I was already a singer, although a failed one. So I thought that this is a very nice industry to enter for a guy like me, and I can make inroads as a person who is either making ads or supporting ads or building something in that direction. So for 3 years I was doing that, but at the same time I was not hitting success anywhere. So long story short, most of my friends were preparing for MBA. So I thought why I should also start preparing. So right from the end of the college, I used to give exams, but not with very good preparation. But for the last 2 years, I started preparing very well. And as luck would fall into, I landed into my MBA. I took full-time break, and as I was doing MBA, I got my first break in an ad agency. If you've heard of this agency called Ogilvy and Matter. It's one of the biggest
Okay.
ad agencies who have made all the big ads you call Favicol, whatever the big ads you remember,
Mm.
all the ones which are there.
Right.
Ogilvy
Right.
is supposed to be the mother of all those ad agencies. And I was there, I did my internship, and I was very excited. But once I entered this ad agency, I started working in Gurgaon for 2, 3 months. It was there as a part of my curriculum. I had the shock of my life because it was a cultural shock uh,
Okay.
because because we are coming from a very humble engineering kind of background and then entering into an MBA. But this environment in an ad agency is far more different. I couldn't digest for first few weeks, but of course I became part of it and I started enjoying also. They offered me a package, but that was almost below of what I had left my job with. So I thought, what is the point of doing an MBA from IIM if I am getting a salary again back to the ones which I was getting earlier, even though this was my passion to enter into an ad agency, and I thought that I'm reaching there. But then I dropped out and I thought, no, because I also realized that money is going to become a very important priority. As luck will favor, I had my previous experiences from IT. I entered into the corporate field and I started with the sales profile. But this time I was a manager, so I started my career again as a manager now. So I thought, okay, life now I think it will be settled. The money was coming good, although there was a huge loan on me because I was entering into the MBA and I was doing everything on a loan. But like you asked that what was the biggest crack? The biggest crack was in the moment when I restarted this job. I felt that I have done nothing in my life because the kind
Mm.
of environment I was back again, it felt as if I'm that same 19-year-old who has done nothing in life, and the treatment and everything was very toxic to me accordingly because I had never been part of sales earlier. So it was very difficult for me to, be there. And since 2015, I got this in my mind. It's almost 10 years now that we are speaking, that I thought that I need to do something of my own because I'm not getting anything and I'm not going anywhere. Because I'm trying to change professions, I'm trying to jump from this place to that place to this place to that place. Eventually, that kida, as you say, that thought of becoming an entrepreneur started with me.
Right.
And that is when my journey started parallel. So the best part which I did was, sir, I generally never thought of dropping from a job because we had no backup of source of money. So to all the people who think that you should follow your passion and should leave everything and then deeply get embedded, I would say it's a very hard hitting chance. We may pass and we may fail. It may end up into very miserable instances. Like I have seen many of my friends going in that drain, but I took very slow turtle steps. But I would say God was very kind. Wherever I am, it all paid off today eventually. But the crack started when I again restarted my job after MBA.
Okay. So, but see, what I would say that, as you said that you belong to Kanpur, and
Yeah.
Kanpur I would treat like a tier two city, right?
Yes.
And your father being in a government job. So I know in India, having a person who is in job wants his kids to be in job to be as a safe profession. And
Yes.
if then in job also, it should be a government job.
Correct.
Then
It
you are
was the
perfectly secure for life,
yes. Yes.
right? So
Yes.
that is the thought process of parents basically because they always want a safe way out for the children,
You are
right?
absolutely true, sir.
And you being an engineer, then you went on to do MBA from IIM, once again, such a reputed institute of our country. So I'm sure people around you or in your family, for them, you are already an achiever, right? Isn't
Uh,
it so?
I would say yes and no because most of my family members, including my grandfather, used to think that you're very intelligent. Why don't you prepare for IAS? You're wasting your
Yeah,
time in these
yes.
government job, in these private jobs, running from post to pillar. So even that MBA was not very well taken. But because by that time when I had cracked my MBA, most of my family members had gone up. So I had lost my grandfather, I had lost my grandmother during my MBA, and I also lost my father early. So they were not there to see that place. But by the time they were there, they always wanted me to pursue a career as a civil aspirant. That was the
Civil
biggest
aspirants.
demand from me. But somehow I was not relating with it at all. I thought, okay, even if I do a job, I cannot be a government employee because I saw my grandfather and I saw my father, two generations working for government of India, And I realized that this is not the kind of life I would want to. Nothing, no harm in their life. The life was pretty smooth and it was going good. First of all, we were struggling for money. That was the first thing that I saw there. The second thing which I also saw was life was very mundane. They had a Monday to Friday kind of stable, same kind of work, and Saturday, Sunday was for them to enjoy and take break. And it was like this for 30 odd years. I saw my grandfather as I was growing. I mean, he got retired, but he used to tell his stories. And then I saw my father doing it. Although my father was a PhD graduate, he was a very well reputed guy in the city itself. Yet I couldn't see the real success, the one which I was hitting into. Because the promotions in government were also like 5 years, 10 years, then you get promoted. So nobody really recognizes your routine work. You are expected to do like this, and it's like, okay, what's the big deal about it? So that was the first disconnect which I had with my father, and he kind of be okay. He said, okay, fine, you can go for private work as well. But then, yeah, if you ask me, they all wanted me to pursue civil services because they used to think that you are very intelligent, you
Yes.
should pursue that. So
Oh,
that was there.
okay. So that makes sense because that I can understand because you started in the private sector
Yes, and I did
and
try, by the way. Sorry, I
parents,
forgot to tell you. If you remember, there's something called as SCRA. There's a
yeah,
special exam on railways
right.
where only that those days there were only 16 students they was being taken. For 6 months, I prepared very hard for SCRA because my parents wanted me to go there. It's a government very premium thing. You should go there. And I don't think I was anywhere close to 100 to 100. And they said, okay, चुपचाप इंजीनियरिंग की तैयारी करो तुमको गलत ही लगा दिया हमने सीआरए तुम्हारे लिए है नहीं. So anyway, I did prepare a couple of places there and here so that they wanted me to, in fact, yeah, I forgot to tell you, at when I was in ninth, I had deep interest to enter into the army as well. I was very
Okay.
well, I was watching those movies, I was getting in that rigor
Right.
also. But by the time I reached 11th, my eyesight became so weak that I couldn't even qualify on the eyesight point. So I couldn't give NDA in 11th and 12th. So there was one thing which automatically got killed for me, but I was very passionate those days of my life to enter into the defense services. But as the luck would say, it never happened. Then engineering happened, and then I wanted to become a singer. Then, and all what he shared is all the part of the story.
So this is very likely because students at that age, obviously, ye कहना they are one track. No, that is wrong because they want to do different things, right? They
Correct.
want to explore different things, and obviously, many a times they don't get that opportunity, right? Because as I said, parents wants a safe way out, smooth way out for their kids. So that's not entirely wrong, but many a times, yes, it does kill that, aspiration of the child that we need to really look into. And
Absolutely.
if I ask you that, like, you are like going places, I would say, right? Many things to explore. So, what were your childhood experiences, I would say, or blueprints, we can say, that they were gradually or silently shaping your purpose? Because you had a father who is into government job, he has his aspiration, he wants to see his son as a, I would say, the most eligible, you can say, or in the civil services, right? But you are kind of diverting from that, path. And
Yes.
so even before you consciously chose the current path, what were your blueprints? How are you getting diverted?
Uh, I would say there are a couple of things. Even though my dad was a class one government officer, but in a funny way, he used to tell that when he was very young. So my dad wanted to become a doctor, like the surgeon doctor. But I think there were very lack of resources. My grandfather couldn't afford the kind of fees or whatever requirements were there. He couldn't qualify for MBBS. So then he went into the same place where my grandfather was doing, and he started the job there. But he told me that while he was 20, 21, he had the knack of acting, and all his friends were telling that why don't you pursue acting as well? So I think he faintly tried for Pune Institute of Acting, something like that. Those days, this was the highest thing. And he used to tell me this story, not very vividly, but like very briefly he shared. But this thing stuck more than anything else. And I said, wow, this is very interesting. My dad also had that feeling to get in that place, but maybe he couldn't pursue his dream. I will do that. That was point number one. Second point is, even though everyone is coming from science and they were all into engineering and very technical stuff, my mother is a artist. She did her MA, MA in arts, and she was although a B.Ed, and she has done a lot of degrees, of course. But her core forte was art. She was an artist, drawing and painting. She was an expert there. And I think a lot of creativity inclined inside me as I was growing. A lot came from my mother that ways. So there was a mix, and there was a lot of confusion also that what I want to do. One thing which I clearly remember was that my father used to tell me that he wanted to become very famous, but he couldn't. And I thought that maybe I will become famous and I will bring the name of the family to a place where everyone will say, oh, they. So from the childhood only, I thought that, if my father will go, they will not say that, Katiyar Saab ja raha hu, bolega, dekho, Rajat ke father ja rahe. That was the intention that I already had in my mind. And then I
Wow.
thought, ये सरकारी नौकरी तो ये भी कर रहे हैं, ये तो इतने फेमस हुए नहीं. Neither my grandfather could become that famous, although he was very famous in the community for getting marriages and the social work which he used to do. But again, I was too young to understand those things. But one thing I was clear that I need to be very famous and need to create the name of the family and create a legacy around myself. These were things which somehow ingrained in me from the childhood. I don't know why. And I carried those with me even today. So those imprints were very, very well. I very well remember that I had a dream that I should have my own channel where the name should show so that anyone who opens the television, because that was the highest thing for us that days. And
Right.
in the television, then my name should be there on the channel. So, you see ZTV like that, my name should be there in the television. And that's how I want to become famous. These was my goals and dreams, when I was in class 2 and 3. And somewhere these never got killed. It was still continuously brimming in me, and I never got an opportunity. And I would also say that I did not have the courage to go against my family at that point of time, because I could see all the hardships that my entire family was going to help me and my younger son, my younger brother grow in our life as we were growing up. So they were, and I would say the resources were very less. Knowledge was very less. The internet was something which was luxury those days, because you remember वो
Right.
एक ब्रॉडबैंड होता था, ट्र प्र करके आवाज करके चालू होता था. So we couldn't even afford that those days. So we used to go to a friend who has a broadband. So that is how we used to connect with internet and find certain informations. Career choices were very less. There was only one new choice which my cousins had went for. That was fashion designing. That was the new thing those days. Most of
Yes.
my cousins went there. And I thought maybe I'm not a cutout for fashion designing at least, but I can become a news reader, is what I said. The moment I shared this with my dad said, "Are you nuts? Will you read news? Who is going to watch it? Prepare for engineering. You're not cut out for this." So there were so many things which I tried, and
Right.
then someone came up with hotel management. So one of my friends already started his preparation. So I went to my dad, and dad said, "Are you crazy? I am a PhD doctor, and my son will become a waiter. You want to bring down the family name." And i was
Right.
i was feeling so stupid. I said, oh, did I ask the wrong thing? Because the knowledge and the understanding of different careers was so less in my family, I would say. And I think it was the same those days, because the options were very mere. Engineer bano, doctor bano, lawyer ban sakte ho to ban jao, CA ban jao. That was a very reputed thing those days.
Right.
And if you have some creativity, become a fashion designer. There's nothing else beyond it for us living in those cities. Of course, I'm sure people living in Delhi, because then I moved to Noida after 12th, and then I saw a different world, because
Hmm.
this was a very different pace from where we were coming from. So there the avenues were very high, but when I was there in my hometown, these were the options.
Yes. So I many a times even, though schools have started the career counseling seminars there just to educate, but
Yeah.
still we have a long way to go because new careers are coming up every day,
Yes, yes.
right? And yes, you are so right because what I can see it is like the ideal child even today. Uh, that is the thought process कि getting
Yes.
attracted to so many things at one time और हर चीज अच्छी लगती है हर चीज अट्रैक्ट
Correct.
करती है कि ये भी कर
Correct.
लो
Correct.
ये भी कर लो ठीक है
My
ना
8 year wants to become a podcaster. What can I do now?
yes
You chose this option after so many years of knowledge. He, at a 8-year-old, says that I'm making a video, upload it on my YouTube channel. I want more
yes
subscribers. Oh,
right. And the younger generation is actually holding that flag I would say on social media.
correct.
I mean,
True.
so no doubt about that. And now while conversing with you, if I see you mastered, multiple modalities, even while I was giving your intro. So long when people would hear कि भैया क्या क्या किया हुआ है रजत जी ने. So your inner child healing, NLP, graphology, ancestral trauma healing, Reiki. So what drew you into these energy sciences so deeply?
Okay, so sir, I'll be honest, this is only one field which I never explored. This field explored me. I never thought of becoming this at all because 5 years ago, if you would ask me that something like this exists, I would shun it off. I would rubbish it off. I will say पैसे कमाने के तरीके. Sorry, I'm being very truthful and brutal with you because I know where I'm coming from. My reason to sign up for graphology was to prove them wrong. That
Okay.
let me prove that how they can tell me that from handwriting they can find traits about myself. This was my start of the journey, I'll tell you. Because I had throughout been a very logical child, although there was so much of creativity. But as we were turning into our 30s, and also during my MBA days, we were already always being told how to break a business, not to make a business. Because every time they will ask a situation, they will give a Harvard case study and say, okay, how did they fail? Find out the reasons for failure. How can you improve their business? So these were the concepts. We were not at all being asked to look in the different part of the world. It was pure logic, 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 logic. And until I had no understanding and no logic about these energy sciences, I always used to find that these are waste of time. There is nothing really which is making sense in there. Only when I experienced it myself, when and COVID, I would say, although it was a bad phase, but for me personally, it was a big blessing in disguise because I was entirely at home for the full day. Work and all was going fine, but I was very low because I am an outward guy. I used to go out like every day, every morning 7. I used to go out and used to come back at 11. This was my usual routine, 7 days a week, not even Saturday, Sunday. This was my profile before COVID. And after COVID, I felt useless. And on top of it, there were some emotional challenges. I lost few of my friends in second wave, and I'm thinking, oh shit, what am I doing? What am I running for? I don't know if I'll be alive tomorrow. And that is when accidentally this entire space of spirituality, coaching, healing entered. And I signed up and I started working and I saw deep changes in my personality. And this is almost 2021. We are almost 5 years. I'm talking about 2020, 2021 is when I started exploring. Within 1 year, I saw a stark change in my personality. And by 2022, I was very ready that I think this is something which the world needs. Because I myself, when I say and I brag that I know so many things, was so unaware of this entire industry. I thought I think I should take this flag and I should help understand people more about it. So it started from just pure help mode or to give to the society was the intention, and suddenly it became a profession because I realized that oh, there's money also involved and there's so much of money that is already there on the table, so why to lose it? And that is when I started taking this entire science very professionally. To the second point that you said, that so many modalities, I'm a very curious child from the beginning. I want to do everything. That was my problem. So even when I started into healing, I said, ये भी देख लो, वो भी देख लो, ऐसे भी कर लो, वैसे भी कर लो. And also everything started giving me results. So whenever I used to get stuck, I never was finding solution from that same modality. I thought, okay, this is the problem. How can this solution can help me? And that is how I ended up touching on almost 15, 17 modalities, trying to
Okay.
learn them, trying to master them. I would never say that I can master. This is like a 20-year work if someone
Yeah,
wants
of
to master
course.
it. But of course, I had the ground firm, is what I can say. And I was very passionate about it. And I started growing inside. And one thing also became very prominent, Kapil sir, that let's say someone is giving me his signature and I tell three things about him and I'll suddenly say, oh, how do you know about it? Or let's say I see a
Right.
palm of a person and I tell something about their marriage and I say, how do you know? Because I also learned palmistry in between and I'm a face reader also. So I read a face person. I said, okay, this is there. How did you tell this? So, this surprise on their face also gave me a lot of kick, and I said, okay, let me learn, let me master more, let me practice more, so that I can create a mark in someone's mind that okay, he met this person, he
Mm.
should not forget me. Once he meets me, he should understand that he shouldn't forget me. That's how all these modalities entered into my life, and today they're part of my life. I enjoy it. It's like this is my bread and butter now.
Interesting. So I would say that Though you are a coach, you are a healer, but you are a student of all these modalities at the same
Yes,
time.
yes. I was always only a student. I'm still a student. In fact, when I coach my kids or when I work with them, I tell them I'm very lucky because even though I am teaching you the science and I'm helping you in releasing your problems, more than you, I am learning from you because I now have the formula of how to crack your problem.
Right.
So,
Right,
and the best part
exactly.
is I am learning, but you are paying me for that learning. So I'm very happy about it that
Right,
this is the most beautiful part of me being a coach.
right,
So that's how
right,
it works. So yeah,
right.
it's an amazing journey for me.
Really wonderful. And so amazing. And I'm sure, see, this is for my audience also that you need to keep on learning. Because, see, though you ventured into multiple fields, but if
Mhm.
I would say the base for that, you never stopped learning. You never stopped exploring. And I can say you went with the flow, whatever came your way, and you at that moment you felt, okay, this is also my calling. Let's explore it further. And that fueled your growth, I would say, right? And
Absolutely.
now, as you have already worked with 700 plus students or clients, whatever you want to call them, but is there one powerful transformation story that still gives you goosebumps? I would love to share.
Honestly, sir, there is not one. There are more than 10 actually, to be honest. But they're each of them are very powerful in different ways. I got an opportunity to work with people who were in severe depression. They were alcoholic. They were coming from a rehab. From there, from being jobless, having multiple health challenges, they got a job worth 20, 25 lakh rupees, and their life started getting on mainstream. Their health problems got improved. This is one of the case. The second case is there's a woman who was into multiple divorces. She was in deep shame. She wanted to suicide. That's the time when she had come. We did a lot of healing work with her, and we could understand within months her complete health improved. She got her self respect, she got a love of her life finally, and she's doing phenomenally in her career. So, we have multiple such stories where people have come with zero hope. They feel that, this is the end of the world, and how can we resolve from these problems? And from there, when we pull them up, and from there, they get the result of their life. I feel that something fruitful has been done through me. I'm nobody actually, to be honest. This is being done from someone else. He's driving me to get this done, and I get the guidance. We start working, and the results start showing up, and that's how it gives a lot of fulfillment. There is no even 1 ounce of in Hindi we call it ahankar. Nothing of that sort is there. It's a
Hmm.
pure gratitude to the universe that he chose me to be so able to help these people who need certain help. Only problem here is people find that healers and coaches are the last people to go up to. वो जब बिल्कुल वेंटिलेटर पे कोई आ
Hmm.
जाता है तब वो आते हैं
Right.
समस्या का समाधान मांगने. If they would have decided it earlier, probably वहां तक कभी पहुंच ही नहीं पाए होते.
Right.
But that is one thing which I have realized in our country. Mindset work is very less aware about, and people are not taking that work very seriously. All of us are very clear that हम अपनी बॉडी के लिए जिम इंस्ट्रक्टर लगाना चाहते हैं, योगा कोच लगाना चाहते हैं. वी आर वेरी क्लियर विद द बॉडी, बट विद द माइंड देर इज नो क्लैरिटी. वी थिंक हमने स्कूल में पढ़ाई कर ली, कॉलेज में पढ़ाई कर ली और कोचिंग कर ली, तो आई थिंक वी गॉट एवरीथिंग. बट वी डोंट अंडरस्टैंड these are only skills of the profession. What we are doing is we are working on the life skills. When there are life
Right.
challenges, how do we resolve from those problems? Nobody taught us. All of
Right.
us are working for money, but the moment we talk about money, people say, "Shh, don't talk about money. People will think you're a greedy guy. What is this concept?" So,
Right.
we are trying to bridge this gap to understand that every human being needs to work on their mindset, needs to work on the deeper problems of their life, and they can't do it every time on their own. They need some external help, and that is why coaches like you and me are helping them, supporting them to grow and transform their life.
I fully agree on this because I myself working in the career space, and we understand that there is a difference, in fact, a huge difference being having the right education and having the right mindset. They're two different things, right? Because recently, when we saw that in Faridabad, a few doctors were caught,
Yes, yes,
now
yes.
all were well educated.
Correct.
but then they didn't have the right mindset.
Mindset.
Or when we see some educated person committing suicide, that is also good, well educated, but not the right mindset, right?
Correct.
And some life skills are missing, right? That a person is not able to, manage the life challenges and then goes the wrong way. So I fully, resonate with what you said. But because, see, as I am helping students, so what I want to hear from you that if in your journey, if you helped a student or some teenager or a person who just began his career journey and then got stumped by the life challenges, if you can share something of that sort, it would be
Yes,
really a
sir.
blessing.
I would share not just from my experience, but now after working with so many people, even from their childhood memories, and I got an opportunity to work with a lot of students as well in between. One thing which is the biggest roadblock, and I'm so surprised it was there in our times, it is still here, and I think it will continue to here, is this concept of comparison. The
Right.
moment the child, or let's say a parent, is comparing this child with some other child because of its performance, it definitely degrades us. Let's be honest, our education system is like, whether you are an elephant, whether you are a giraffe, whether you are a deer, whether you are a rabbit, whether you are a lion, or whether you are a fish, whether you are a mole, the 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 path is that you have to climb the tree, and the person who climbs the tree the highest is number one in the class. Now, how is it possible? We are bringing different animals and trying to give them a same task. That is the most unfortunate thing about our education system. The worst part is, my friends who were kids and who used to claim that we will never compare our kids are brutally comparing their children with so
Comparing.
many different children, because this is the mindset shift which is not happening in our country. The parents are getting, so much of pressurized by watching, oh, he's doing cricket also, he's doing football also, but at the same time he gets 90% also, you also do have to do the same. This is the most I would say pitfall, that firstly the parents were falling, and slowly children also adapt to this comparison, because they feel, maybe I'm not good, and if I have to be good, let me check this guy because I think he's better than me, so I think I will either get goodness from him or I will become jealous of him. That's how it works eventually, right?
Right.
So this is one big habit, or the biggest problem, which I want to tell to the teenager. If you are listening to this podcast through Kapil sir's show, I want to give a message to all the young boys and girls. Today, there are more than 1,000 career options, so you really don't have to be worried about. Even if you record something on the camera which is worthwhile and you start posting it, you can create a very big career there. And by the way, through Kapil sir, you would know Kapil sir himself is a big podcaster. Podcasting itself is a full-time career now. And it's a
Yes.
very, very vital career. It is the way to give more light, more knowledge, more energy, more vitality to the world. It's such a noble work that he is doing, and so many people like him are doing. But 5 years ago or 10 years ago, this was considered to be a waste of time. So the only message which I have to each and every child is, please follow your passion as early as you can,
Yeah.
and just run after it, because everything can get you money if you have the right mindset. So don't run after money, don't run after being famous. Follow your heart and don't compare yourself, because maybe you are a giraffe, you have been mistreated as a rabbit, which you are not.
Right. Right. Beautiful analogy. And I would add to it because I am into career space. So today we actually have more than 12,000 careers.
My God. So, yeah, you would know it much better. My God, this is an eye opener for me also.
Right.
Brings
So
down my
that is
pressure
true.
level. I don't have to
Yeah.
think about my son at all. 12,000 is like,
12,000. And obviously, with every passing day, new technology coming in, they are increasing.
yes,
Right. So, and people are creating new careers also. That is their innovation many a
correct,
times. Right.
correct,
Because a couple of years back, nobody had heard of podcasting.
true.
Right. So, and now we ourselves are doing it. Right. Though, but when we were back in school or college, nobody had heard. We never imagined that someday we'll be doing it ourselves.
We never thought that we will have a meeting interview
Right,
on a Zoom or like an
right.
online channel like this happening. At
Definitely.
least
Yeah.
15 years ago, I could never imagine about this.
Yeah,
Even though
definitely.
Teams and
Huh.
Outlook were all there, yet I couldn't think that this is also the way to meet
Right.
people.
Exactly. Exactly. Fully agree. And because now we are talking about students and parents, right? And that is actually the kind where, that bond is happening.
Yes.
So many young Indians feel stuck between parental expectations and their true interests because we are talking about that only. And you just
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
that, right? Because so how does the inner child healing help them break free from these invisible emotional patterns? Because when you were talking about the comparison, and as you said, even your friends are unknowingly, right?
Yeah.
Because that comparison comes in the guise of love and care,
True, true, true.
right? So that is that thing. So how does this inner child healing help them?
Okay, so Kapil sir, inner child healing is not for kids actually. This is
Okay.
firstly for people who are 18 plus. Why? Because you must have witnessed certain childhood to really understand that where the problem is. So probably inner child is probably around people for 18 plus first of all. But the
Okay.
answer to the question is it definitely helps a lot to get out of so many problems. I will first answer the first question that you had put for me. Like, for example, there are expectations from the family that the child has to become like this, and child has its own dreams. Uh, Two ways to look at it. If the child is a rebel and he has his full force that he can really create wonders in what he's doing, then they should not listen to anybody. It might sound very rude, but that's how it is. You have to become little ziddi, so we call in our Indian context, to really pursue that dream. And I'm not trying to sell this. I'm just sharing from the deepest bottom of my heart that if you have that courage to go for it, please go for it. Later, your parents will also understand. And I also want to tell you their analogy, what I felt as a healer. Parents never want their children to feel hurt. They always want their kids to be successful in whichever field they want to. Please understand, parents want the safety of the child. They want the child to be happy. They want the child to make good money so that they can have their living. Even when the parents are not alive, they can take care of themselves. These are the only emotions that the parents have. Unfortunately, children feel that parents also use them as trophy, which is true in certain cases. I'm not denying. But what happens here is that if the child is courageous enough to take those bold steps and is ready to take the failures on a hit, then of course they will have that success. And I have so many examples. One of my friends, his son is now a professional singer. He is a rapper rather. He's already only 19 and he's going to Gurgaon and various places to get on the show. The parents were very afraid initially, but eventually they gave way to him, and he's showing so much signs of success. I think he has got more name and fame than his last seven generations that this guy has got. But the
Okay.
parents were not just confident, but were patient with this child. Okay, let him
Right.
try. Even if he fails, we are there to fall back. But in many such cases, it will not be there. And let's say the child also is not that courageous. I would say, please be a little more patient. Wait for your time. The day you start earning, I'm sure your parents will let go you free because they feel, oh, now my son has started or my daughter has started making money. At least they can take care of themselves if I am not in this world, right?
Right.
This is the most common point that the Indian parent thinks about their child, irrespective of whichever generation you belong to, whether you are generation X, Y, Z, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, whatever, it doesn't matter. But what matters is these are the ingrained point of views which are been into us as parents and into children as we were, right? Now, coming back to inner child healing. Inner child healing can resolve so many situations. Like you said, comparison is one of the biggest killer from where the problem starts. That is one of them.
Yes.
Second
Yes.
is, in the wake of making your child intelligent, lot of time parents say certain things which they should not say to the child. Like you say, you are very stupid, you are very careless, you don't take care of these things, you are not serious for your studies. What we are messaging, we are we are literally labeling this child to be all these problems, which a parent doesn't want, by the way. But unconsciously, they're putting this, and eventually they end up becoming like the same for which they have been said no. So the message to the parents is please be more open to your child, and rather than blaming them or putting them into spotlight, start asking questions. That is the best way to really understand their children, right? That's one. And for
Mm.
the kids, the only message is, if you're a rebel, please go for it. You can fight your own battles. But if you're not, please be patient. Your parents don't want your bad, they only want you to be successful.
Right.
Once you start earning, you will have your way. Like it started for me also. I was being in that position that I need to fend for myself. And from that time, I started taking my decisions. I had so many failures as I was building my business, but nothing stopped. And what I'm doing today is also my own work, even though my mom couldn't agree with it for at least 1.5 years ago. But now she's so gungo when I share her a result that this was the result, and she said, "Oh, you did this?" I said, "Yeah, you can ask this person." And
Right.
suddenly, you get that respect and love from everyone once you become that epitome of success. The challenge is nobody in the family or in the generation has ever done something like this. So there is a lot of inherent fear in the family.
Right.
Again, to safeguard the integrity and the identity of the child. So there is a lot of miscommunication, I would say, sir. If these gaps are being fulfilled, I think kids will have a much more better future as
Right.
we speak.
Right. So coming back to you, I would say,
Yeah, yeah,
I want to ask a personal question. When
sure.
you, after this MBA, the corporate job, and when you were trying to venture into this unconventional spiritual career, were you married at that time?
Yeah, yeah, I was married. In fact, we used to have regular fights. There's a lot of
Ex-
situation around it. So, in fact,
Exactly.
and most of my family members think that I'm good at corporate work. So they used to think, why don't you jump your jaws? Because you can become a vice president, you can do this, you can do that, you can have a very shining corporate career. But as I told you, from 2015, I was already switched off. So for 10 years, I was doing only just because it needed me some money at the home. That is why I was doing it. But I was trying and venturing out before even healing. I did multiple different businesses. I failed in multiple places, and only added to frustration, angst, and anger with my spouse. And I could patiently hear her because she was not wrong. शादी से पहले I promised her sun and moon, but I was not even able to give her a proper Maruti. So that is where the disconnected start happened. But then she was patient enough to treat me and to still manage. But there were fights. There were a lot of fights. I would not disagree. Fortunately, healing did help me there because I became very patient. I became very calm. I could understand the feeling behind why she was saying it. So, one thing
Yes.
which transformed me as a person while I entered into the space of healing and coaching is that, sir, we started going into the root cause of the problem. We
Right.
don't today look at the real problem. Like someone comes at me shouting, I will not react at it. I will understand that why is this person actually
Why is
shouting?
he saying
Maybe
that?
there
Yes.
is a deeper issue that he is going. I need to understand him from that aspect. And trust me, when I started understanding from that aspect, the person who was shouting at me started saying sorry to me. So I don't have to do anything,
Hmm.
literally, because I just understood their pain, their point of view, and they automatically came back to me and they said, maybe we were harsh, maybe we were wrong. Please pardon us. We will not try to repeat it, although it was getting repeated again because they are not going through healing. I
Ah,
am.
right.
But then the point is, the family system became more amicable, and my relationship with my spouse grew very well. We have a very beautiful, loving relationship, and things are going like anything. And all this no joke is, I think, the tadka or the spice of the life. It keeps the ball rolling, and it also gives a pinch to my back that work for Tamis Seni. So this is
Ah,
the demand. You have to fulfill that demand now. So I
exactly.
think it's all
Exactly.
good. It's complementing the way how I'm growing.
Mm.
But
So
the
yes,
answer on
there
the question is,
were
there were a lot of fights, severe
yeah.
fights.
Mm. Actually, that was I what I was about to ask because see earlier when we are young, like in the our we are 22, 20, just the beginning of the career,
Yeah,
we are answerable to our parents, right?
correct.
And when we get married, we are answerable to the wives because they are also part of our lives.
Not just to wife, not to my son also. He's giving me
Right.
targets. Oh, this year you have to earn so many crores because you have to buy a BMW for me next year. So please plan
Wow.
accordingly. I said, wow. Now you have different choices now.
Yeah. Demanding kids.
Yeah, yeah, this is how they are.
Exactly. Okay. Now,
So, but yeah, you are right.
nice.
Sorry, you had your question. I missed it. So you're saying
No,
that
so
we were
basically, yeah.
answerable to
So,
people. Yeah.
yeah. So, how did you overcome that fear of choosing an unconventional? Because see, it might have gone wrong also.
Of course, sir. Okay, one thing which I always want to tell to all the people, I never took risk out of the way. I had always kept one source of income. That's why I said, how could I get 15 years of career experience? I would be 60 by now. It was all going in parallel. I was trying everything in parallel. I was working like anything. If anyone can check my previous 10, 15 years of journey, they will say, you are mad. You are not giving any time to yourself. You were always working, working, working. So first it was office, then it was my own work. Weekend was my own work. So it was going like this all the time. So financially, one thing I realized, sir, if financially I'm not able to cope up, nobody is going to safeguard me, and I don't have a family backup. As I told you, a lot of challenges were there in our family with reference to money. So I was very certain I need to have at least one source of income. I could also not go ahead and ask help from my spouse because she was taking care of my kids, and we wanted it that way. We wanted full support for her towards the kids, because else we couldn't have given any space to our children. We would be only working and earning money. We would not give time to our kids. So we took a conscious call. So I always played safe in terms of me financially. That was one thing that I always took. It is not a very good way to work, but I would say it's still very safe to work. And I always position to most of my people, my clients, and through your podcast, please don't take that risk which you can't handle. If you
Right.
plan to choose your career, if you want to change your career, if you today plan, let's say, please have a backup of at least 1 year. That at least 1 year, if
Mm.
you don't earn 1 rupee, and by the way, I had that. I by God's grace, today I have a 2 year backup. That even if I don't get a single penny from my work, I'm sorted for 2 years. That was a conscious decision that I took. I was saving for this day so that I shouldn't be changing my lifestyle. I shouldn't ensure. I have to ensure that my kids and my family is growing the way they were as it is supposed to be. I don't want it to be hardship for them. This is my journey. So
Right.
I have to have proper backup and proper planning. And the message to all the people is, please be very judicious of the risk that you're taking. It's better to slog more, sleep less, work harder, don't have party, don't have fun time, don't have vacations. It's perfectly fine. I'm so impressed with this gentleman, Elon Musk. If you just allow me for a minute,
Yeah,
during
sure.
New Year, everybody was partying. So he put, X is his company, Twitter. He had put uh, to Twitter, what do you call it? There is this X post, the Twitter post
Mhm.
what he put. He put a post
Yeah.
and he said, during New Year, Mark Zuckerberg, who is the owner of Facebook, is partying. Uh, um, I think Reliance also, he said that Mukesh Ambani is partying. Bill Gates is partying. He had put 4 or 5 very successful. Jeff Bezos is partying.
JB.
And he said, Elon Musk, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days a week, I'm always working. And he's no wonder he's the richest guy,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I'm not saying that you should not enjoy your life or you should not party. When it's about risk, please look for all the parameters. Don't go very emotionally overboard. That is
Mm.
why this journey happened to be very late. I always wanted to become a full-time singer and I would have left everything and become a junkie, but I don't know if I would have hit the roads. मैं सड़क पे भीख मांग रहा होता. I don't know what would have happened. So I was very judicious in those cases,
Mm.
because from childhood, this was one thing which was being clearly told to us. If you have money, you can survive. If you don't have money, sorry, there's nobody to pay for you. You have to pay for your own self. So this mindset is very important for all of us. If you really want to venture out, if you really want to change your career options from here, please don't stop your financial strengths. Every penny is a strength. Please nurture it. Please be grateful to it. Try and save more and more before you take a plunge deeper into your career switch.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a real good piece of advice. And I'm sure you are still doing singing with your kids and for your wife. I'm sure they
Yes,
enjoy
I
your singing.
am. I have to restart actually. I have to buy a karaoke. That's also in 2026.
Okay.
Vision board. It's all there.
Awesome. Awesome. So now, see, you met people from all age groups, right? Yeah, teenagers, young career professionals, and all. And because in the healing journey, we do have deep conversation with our clients, with our
Yeah, yeah.
students, right? So, What does your experience say when you, if I may ask you, that what are the limiting beliefs do you see most commonly in Indian students and professionals that actually block their clarity, confidence, and career growth? And obviously, that is like a big obstacle in their life.
Correct.
So, what do you see
Uh,
that?
I think, sir, there are a couple of things. We Indians have a very bad habit of judging. We judge
Hmm.
people on the basis of their color. We judge people based on their religion or the caste. We judge people on the basis of their physical appearances. We judge people on the basis of their bank balance. We judge people on the basis of their knowledge. And from childhood, if the child is subjected to certain judgments about himself or herself, clearly kills their confidence. Like I had a client who was supposedly little dark skinned, and her sister was very fair skinned. So she was always being told कि इसका क्या होगा. And even if uh, to the worst extent, I'll tell you a very simple story that a guy tried to you know उसको क्या बोलते हैं छेड़ना जिसको बोलते हैं a guy was just
Molesting,
trying to not molest will be a strong word but
eve
just try to
teasing,
eve tease kind of thing.
eve teasing.
When the guy did eve teasing to her sister was brutally beaten, and when another guy did to this girl was being ignored. In fact, the mother said, "Isko kaun chhedega?" Now, can you beat it? What kind of emotion that this girl is going through as she is growing? And as the luck would say, this person grew up with a lot of pain, a lot of self judgment issues. She worked very hard all her life, but she never could get to the place where she was always getting to deserve. In fact, she had a lot of relationship challenges for which she had come to me later. And we realized that all of it is coming from the childhood blueprints that were being embedded in this child as they were growing, right? And so there are so many aspects about a child as they are growing in front of the family that shape up their career. Many a times parents don't say anything to the child, but the relationship inside the home is not very congenial. There's a lot of shout, there's a lot of abuse, there is a lot of toxicity in the family for no reason, and the child will pick all of it and eventually will show up in their life as they grow up, right? There are a lot of hate, or there is a lot of wrong notion about money per se, especially in our middle class homes, where we can't talk about money. Money is taken as a very different subject. If a child talks about money, they say, "ये पहले पढ़ाई पूरी कर, फिर पैसे की बात करना."
Right,
अरे यार, तुम
right.
पढ़ाई किस लिए करवा रहे हो? Eventually, you want this child to earn money. But nobody's talking about the subject money. Nobody's talking about money as an energy. Nobody's talking about how to save money, how to invest money, how to grow money, how to become millionaire, how to become billionaire. बट एक चीज के लिए बोल रहा है, बेटा साइंस मैथ्स पढ़, तेरे को यही करना है, तुझे
हाँ,
मैथ्स पढ़नी चाहिए, तुम्हें 12th आना है, फिर तुमको परसेंटेज लानी है सो दैट यू गेट इनटू अ गुड कॉलेज, फिर परसेंटेज लाना है जिससे कि तुम्हें गुड जॉब मिल जाए. वी नो द कॉन्सेप्ट
right,
ऑफ गुड जॉब. देयर इज नथिंग कॉल्ड एज गुड जॉब टुडे,
right, right.
right? There's only high paying job and there's only a low paying job. Job is never
Right,
good. That's why it's called job. Else it would have called as vacation.
right.
So that is the problem which we have realized perennially, especially in Indian family. The other thing which I just wanted to use your podcast as a medium to share with people, we Indians have been a lot into people pleasing since childhood. Every girl or every child has been given a blueprint. This is called as a good boy, this is called as a bad boy, this is called as a good girl, this is called as a good bad girl. Now, if you are doing all this, you are a good girl, but if you're doing all this, you're a bad girl. Nobody wants to be sounding as bad.
Hmm.
And the reason why they want to become good is they don't even understand there's a fine line of them being self-righteous or them being people pleaser, and they eventually cannot create boundaries. They have to please anyone and everyone, and people are using them left, right, and center. Unfortunately, this is the hard fact of the corporate life as well. A lot of
Right.
people are surviving in corporate just by um, doing nuisance. They are not doing the real work. They're just trying to, as we say, trying to butter their boss or do all the stuff
Hmm.
to get their position suffice. But there are so many worthy people who are struggling to grow. All of this
Right.
is again coming from the way how this person was being nurtured as a child. There are so much deeper work. So people pleasing is a big problem with Indians. If you go to a place like America, they have a very strict policy. A no means no, a yes means yes. Simple. We
Right.
Indians will
Right.
say, yeah, yes, 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 yes. अभी यही नहीं पता ये yes का है कि no का है. Because these are
Exactly.
typical Indian problems that we have faced, and because of this, my clients and a lot of people around are really having difficult troubles in their life. Right.
Mm.
So these are few things which clearly shape the life of a person. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I fully agree on that count because I do get students in the same way. Because many a times what happens is parents bring their kids to me for counseling and I end up counseling the parents.
I was about to ask you because that's so true. Because
Yes.
let's be honest, sir, a child cannot go wrong. What can a 5-year-old do wrong? How would he
Right.
know what is right and what is wrong? It's the upbringing that he's going through with his parents. There is a package, there is a bundle which is being thrown to this child every day to consume, and that is how the child becomes who he is. Nobody can become a terrorist by birth. It's again the
Right.
upbringing by the. So you're absolutely right. It should never be child counseling. It should be parent counseling actually.
Parent counseling.
Change the business, and
Yeah.
and you. But the problem is parent don't want to accept it. I as a parent
Yes.
would say, no, no, I know very well
Yes.
about my child. How can you
Yeah.
tell me?
Right.
So
Right.
that's a different problem. But yeah, you are absolutely right. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for bringing this. I think that's a very important. And for me also, it's a big awareness now that yes, I need to work more than my child. I can't tell him.
Right. 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 Yeah, that happens. And see, now when you're talking about the kids, their stigma also, what they
Yeah,
go through, and because of their experiences in their childhood, an identity is created, right? Many
yes,
of our actions stem from how we led our lives in our childhood, what we heard, how we saw our parents doing certain things, and that shape up our identity, right?
correct,
And
correct.
many a times that is not the right one. That will not make us grow,
True,
right? And
true, true.
even the challenges with money is also a huge reason for what we have seen our parents doing it, right?
Correct.
So in your view, how can someone rewire their identity and create a new powerful self-image? What would you say to that?
Okay, thank you so much. This is a very powerful question, sir. And I'll tell you, there's not one single answer to it, but it depends on the problem statement that the person is bringing with. There are a couple of things. Firstly, we can use the sciences of NLP just to have immediate release from problems, right? For example, NLP helps us to immediately rewire certain problems. Like let's say someone is going through anxiety due to job, within 10 minutes we can reduce that anxiety into nothing. But that's a temporary solution. The real solution happens when we go deeper in the problem. And these beliefs are, again, like you rightly mentioned, there are two types of beliefs. One is the belief that the child is getting by the virtue of uh, his upbringing, and the other are more like something which comes from lineage. Like, for example, I'll tell you, there are families where they claim that in our family, love marriages are not allowed.
Hmm.
So even though the child may genuinely have fallen in love and want to marry someone of their choice, they cannot because it doesn't fall in their family lineage. So this becomes a limiting belief in their life. Now, either they have to break this burden from their family or they have to separate from their family. But if we want to have an amicable solution to this problem, that is when healing helps them to understand the inner problem because of which this situation arises. And you may feel that, but how will I explain my family members because you are doing healing for me? That is the beauty of healing, that the work we do on us. So I change as a person, automatically the surroundings around me will also change.
Wow.
The entire concept comes from this concept of law of attraction. Unfortunately, but very true, a lot of people don't understand law of attraction as it is. They feel what I think will become my reality. No, that's not true. What you believe will become your reality. And the belief is far deeper. Thoughts are very futile, they come and go. I can feel that the elephant can come in my room right now. And if it would have been true, right now it would have been here and would have been trumping around with in our podcast. But it will not happen so easily. But if my belief tells me since childhood that all the people who are making a lot of money, all the rich people are becoming rich because they conned someone, because they use certain shortcuts, or they were born with a golden or a silver spoon, and I am a right guy, I'm a good guy, I can never become successful. I can try 10,000 things. And this was one big problem while I was going through my own healing journey. Before that, I was doing all the things. I was doing the same exact thing what I'm doing today, but I was not getting any success. Suddenly, this belief came to my mind, and I understood that this is what I have to change. I started working on myself. I changed this belief. And the moment I changed this belief, money started flowing in my life. Automatically, I am getting clients left, right, and center. I don't know from where they find me. I used to hunt for clients. I don't have to hunt anymore. They hunt me. They come to me. They are
Wow.
ready with the money. They say, please take this, but get me out of this problem. So all this happened because of the healing work, because I changed as a person. And that
Hmm.
is how the law of attraction also started working, because my beliefs have changed. I automatically start. Now, my belief says all the rich people are the bigger contributor to the world,
Exactly.
because that's true. But earlier I used to think मुकेश अंबानी हमें लूट रहा है. But I said no,
हाँ.
I am wrong. मुकेश अंबानी की वजह से जो रिलायंस के आने की वजह से जो नॉट मुकेश अंबानी, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट रिलायंस एज अ कंपनी,
हाँ, basically,
उनके
yes.
वजह से इनिशियली द इनकमिंग एंड आउटगोइंग वाज 10 rupees. Because of Reliance, incoming became free and outgoing also became free later. The internet is
Yes,
so cheap. India is the cheapest internet provider in the entire world, all because of this company. So they are
exactly.
bringing greater good to the society. And should they make money? Hell yes, they deserve it.
Yeah,
They are making our life simple. They have to become rich. That's how it works. They are giving this
exactly.
value to us. We are giving them our subscription, and that's how they're becoming rich. They should become rich, right? So I have changed my boundaries. I have changed my mindset, and that's how we change the limiting beliefs. There are two ways. One is the smallest way. We can use graphology also. For that, you are yourself a graphologist. You know how it works. We can change beliefs there through that as well. But there are slow processes. It takes more time. The quicker ones are going deeper into the healing, find out the root cause of this problem, eliminate that root cause of the problem, change your belief, and come back strong. You'll automatically get what you want. That's how it
Wow,
works.
wow. Wow. Really interesting. And I'm sure the audience, because see, we actually need to work with the beliefs of almost, I would say, everyone, right? And because I resonate more with teenagers because I work with them, right?
Yes.
So that is like my immediate, you can say, calling. And
Yeah.
when I see students saying, maths तो मुझसे होगा ही नहीं,
Correct.
right? When they are choosing the stream, yesterday only I was talking to somebody. Now, that child had taken up commerce as a stream.
Right.
And when I asked her why, so she couldn't tell me why she loved commerce, but she had all the reasons why she hated
Why should?
science, why
Yeah.
she doesn't want to take arts,
This is
right?
such a common problem. Yes.
हाँ, तो आप सिर्फ, so that is like you never loved commerce, which you want
You you
to be
hated
a
everything
vehicle for
else.
your career,
Correct.
right?
You hated everything else, and you end up choosing which you hated the least.
Yes. So that is the problem with many students. कई
Correct, sir.
बार I have seen parents advising the kids, अभी आप साइंस ले लो, उसमें स्कोप बहुत है, 12th के बाद देखेंगे क्या करना है. मतलब
कि हमारे टाइम में चल रहा था, आज भी चल रहा है.
आज भी चल रहा है, मतलब आपने 2 साल वेस्ट कर दिए उस बच्चे के.
My God, I'm so surprised. This was the exact same. These were the same comments we used to hear when we were kids. ये अभी तक चल
राइट,
रहा है.
ये
It's
अभी तक
still
चल रहा
selling.
है, राइट. कि वो, क्योंकि हम अपने थॉट प्रोसेस से बाहर आना ही नहीं चाहते.
नहीं चाहते, नहीं
तो
चाहते.
दैट इज व्हाई आई से ना कि मुझे आई हैव टू समटाइम्स आई एंड अप काउंसलिंग द पेरेंट्स कि आप क्या कर रहे हो.
Correct. No, sir, you're absolutely right.
ठीक है ना. तो दीज आर द थिंग्स, बट यस, सो ट्रू. एंड वो बिलीफ सिस्टम तोड़ना, वो अपने आप को सेल्फ क्रिटिकल चीज को खत्म करना बहुत जरूरी है टू ग्रो इन लाइफ,
True, sir, true. True.
नॉट ओनली प्रोफेशनली बट एज अ पर्सन एज वेल,
Person as well. Absolutely.
राइट. एंड you offer signature program as well, right? And I've seen, in fact, I was reading about you that you offer deep modalities like karmic cord cutting,
Yeah,
ancestral
yeah.
healing, emotional detox. So now, just give us that insight that how can these help someone confused about their purpose or career direction? I would love to know.
Brilliant, sir. That's a very good ask. I will come to a very simple point, which is very profound also through your podcast. And I'll talk about ancestral healing for a minute, right? Someone would say, how does it matter? Now, if someone goes to a doctor at the age of 30, 35, the first question the doctor asks is, what is your family history? Why do they
Yes.
ask it? Because they know there are certain genetic patterns that go encoded in our chromosomes, and that's how we enter into those challenges. As an energy healer, what we understand, these are not the genetic codes, these are the emotional blocks that were running from generations and have been embedded into the body of our ancestors, and now they are getting into the body of uh, the next generation as well, right? So it might sound that we are talking about the health challenges, but this is not true. These are the many of the emotional blocks because of which the entire lineage is suffering from those problems. Now, a problem like ancestrally, let's say someone says, I feel stuck in my career. We go back into the history of time and we realize that for last three generations, everyone was getting stuck in their career because this is the pattern that they accidentally borrowed from their ancestors. And why do they borrow it? We want to showcase our love and loyalty to our ancestors. And this is very energetically. You would never want to do it consciously. It happens automatically. Because
Mm.
think about it. If my grandfather had diabetes, I never want diabetes. But 5 years down the line, I enter into diabetes. And the most common example is, oh, his grandfather had na, he can also get it.
Mm. Right.
But it's true for there because this is proven in a medical system. But in the healing system, this is also proven. If someone can come, I can explain them that how this is getting proved. But the block of my life could be an ancestral gift or a curse unconsciously, which I have dragging, or sorry, I am dragging in my family even to this date. That's one way of explaining things, right?
Wow.
Now there's another concept of cord cutting, like you just mentioned. Cord cutting, people misinterpret. They feel that, let's say I have a problem with a person, I cut cords and this person will go away from my life. No, that's not what it means. Absolutely not. What it means is all the negativity that we are carrying because of this situation, because of this person, because of this environment, or maybe let's say for a thing, let's say I want to do cord cutting with this mic or with this laptop, can also help me disregard all the negative emotions that I was carrying until now, and I can obviously pass on the positive messages. And that is where the real law of attraction works. So if I pass positive, I receive positive.
Right.
So this is how cord cutting helps. Like, so what I'm trying to tell you here, sir, is that let's say if a person is in a very confused state, all these modalities bring a lot of clarity into their mind. Firstly, they bring them in alignment with what their purpose of life is. And the more they go deeper to understand that where are the blocks. See, it's a very simple exercise. You find your blocks, release them, then you find your clarity, you get into your clarity, you finally find the purpose from your clarity, and you run after your purpose and your clarity, and you automatically achieve success in the direction where you're looking. The problem is most of the people are listening to other people and thus following it. They're not listening to themselves inside, because the real power is inside. We look for the power outside.
Right.
And our job as a healer, as a professional, is only to ask people to look more inward.
Yes.
Find your blocks. I will help you to release all the blocks so that you become a free bird. Now you can fly anywhere you want to. Just need to decide where you want to fly. Like you said, the example of this little girl, the problem is she is very clear that what she wants to eliminate. She's not clear what she wants to embrace.
Right.
And that is where I help her mindset. So understand how this mind is transforming into elimination, not into picking choices. She cannot look at opportunities, she can only look at risks. If you
Right.
look at the life in general, and again, this is where is this coming from? This is coming again from the way how she was nurtured in her childhood. And I'm not blaming parents. This is customary. This is coming as generation to generation. Someone has to break this pattern. So all the people who come to me for inner child healing, ancestral healing, I tell them that you are the family breaker. You are someone who is breaking this lineage, who is just cutting these problems from your lineage, because through you, your next generation will get sorted, because
Mm.
these blocks are going to remove from our mind, and you will create a very free system for your kids. Free system doesn't mean there's no discipline. It's very incorrect understanding with people come to me. It is full of choices and not full of obstacles, is what I wanted to understand,
Mm.
right? So that's how it helps them.
Awesome. So really, wow. But oh, time is running out, and
Yeah,
I've loved listening to you, and I'm sure the audience have the same feeling. And but just before leaving, I would
yeah,
ask you one last question.
sure,
That
sir.
what is the one message you want every young person listening today to remember when they feel lost, small, or directionless? What would you like
Uh,
to say?
Absolutely, sir. I think when I was 17, I had the first thought of suicide, and I did try because of all the pressures and how things were happening. But I did a half-hearted suicide because I also wanted to live. So it didn't materialize to anything eventually. But I know that I suicide. Nobody else got to know because I was medically fit by that time. But the point which I'm trying to say here, sir, that what I learned from my life and from all the people who I work with, we take life very, very seriously. That is the only challenge with these young people. They take it far more seriously because, again, the problem of comparison comes. They see, oh, he's going there, they are going there, I'm going nowhere, I will not grow. But the fact of the matter is, there's a saying which is very smart, and it says slow becomes fast and fast becomes slow. You just need to pick your slow and your fast at the right time. So my message to all the people, whether young or whether of my age, please don't take life so much seriously. Life was there for us to enjoy. It doesn't mean that you waste your time, but what I'm trying to say here is, please start experiencing life. Don't make it a burden, because we make burden because of the choices that we take, because of the expectations that people have. They will continue to have their expectations, but the more you ease out your life, trust me, life will offer better solutions to us. And it's a very simple ask. Think about it. Let's say we are in a life threatening situation. Would we be able to gather better solutions from being in panic mode, or will we be able to get better solution when we are calm? The answer is very obvious. We don't
Def-
have to even answer it.
yes, yes.
And that is what I'm trying to tell to all of the people. Please be calm in your life. Wait for your time, because maybe your time will start when you are 40. It doesn't matter. Like me, there's this gentleman, Colonel Sanders, is a brand called KFC.
Yeah.
He started his journey when he was 61. He was also going for
Yeah,
suicide.
yes.
Someone came to his doorbell and said, "Oh, you make very good chicken. Can you make it for him?" He said, "Okay, suicide cancel. Let me make this chicken." And
Yeah.
that is how, at the age of 61, he started his career. And today we all know what KFC is. So there is no timeline to anything. कोई fast नहीं है, कोई slow नहीं है. Everybody is running in their own pace. The moment we start taking pressure from the world is when we take life very seriously. And my only message to each one of you is, please don't take life so seriously. Start experiencing life. None of our efforts are getting wasted. Whatever I learned, even singing to this extent, is helping me choose the right song in my healing journey, which creates amazing impact in my healing fraternity. The
Yeah.
engineering which I learned has given me so much of logical mind that I can't have anything. The MBA degree helped me manage my business in the way I can never business like that. Everything and anything that I pursued in my life is supporting my cause today because I have found my purpose.
Right.
Only thing which we should focus on is keep on experiencing and find your purpose. That's the most important. If you want to really become serious, only become serious about one thing. What should be my purpose? And rest, take life as it comes, because universe has its own way to gift. The more we take pressure, the more the gifts are going away from us. They think, oh, he's not ready. Let him be ready. Then I will gift him.
Right. So true. So beautifully said. I would say, like you said, every skill matters, right?
Yes,
Every
absolutely.
skill matters. So, right. I do agree with what you're saying. And Rajat, your journey is like, it is a reminder that, careers aren't chosen once. They
Yeah.
are discovered, shared, reimagined, and reborn many times, I would say. And undoubtedly, you have shown us that healing is not just emotional work, it is clarity work as well. It's confidence work, it's identity work. And when you heal your inner world, your outer world naturally aligns. So
So
I
true.
would say to all the audience or listeners today that if you feel confused about your future, or if you feel stuck in expectations, or I would say if you're scared to choose the wrong career, or you've even forgotten your own strength, just remember you're allowed to reinvent yourself. You're allowed to outgrow your past or allowed to choose a career like, you did that matches your soul, not the society,
Correct.
isn't it? So it
Oh,
was
sir.
so lovely talking to you, Rajat, and
Same here.
even I've got, good insights. I'm sure that will help me as a person as well. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much to you, sir, for giving me this
Thank
opportunity. And
you.
your podcast is such a great message to all the youngster out there. It's the future of our country, and I am so proud of the way how you are handling the future of our country because you are really taking a big responsibility on your shoulders.
Thank you. Thank you.
So a lot is dependent on you and somewhat on me as well to drive how to help these youngsters. And I'm so glad that you're doing this podcast. I'm very, very honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me
Thank
here.
you. Thank you. Thank And if today's conversation touched you, inspired you, or opened a new door in your mind, I would say share this episode with one friend who needs this clarity. And if you want deeper guidance, healing, or career clarity, follow the links in the description to connect with both Rajat and me. Because your transformation begins with one brave decision. Thank you, everyone.